and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. And I'm joined by a special guest today. We've got Michelle, who is the co-owner and co-founder of Pitfire Pizza.
So my husband, since I met him, since he was a teenager, has wanted to have a pizza restaurant.
Pitfire, how it began, where the idea came from, how it was initially put together, and why Dubai was the chosen market for it.
So when we got to Dubai, we found a very expat-friendly, transparent business environment. We did a little round, figured out no good pizza here.
What was wrong with the pizzas?
We prefer a more American style, more cooked through, crunchy type of a crust instead of the soft, flash cooked Neapolitan.
We've got an exciting new partnership to announce between Pitfire and Allsopp. And as anyone who knows me will know, I absolutely love pizza. We're going to go out with every new tenant in a apartment property is going to get 2 Pitfire pizzas.
I love the idea of giving someone who's moved into a new house. I mean, pizza's the perfect thing to have. You know, it's a win-win.
Yeah. You guys have won lots of awards over the years. Yeah. Which one is it that means the most to you?
The most recent one, which was Best Pizzeria in the Time Out Restaurant Awards.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. And I'm joined by a special guest today. We've got Michelle, who is the co-owner and co-founder of Pitfire Pizza. And as anyone who knows me will know, I absolutely love pizza. So this is a guest that I've been really looking forward to get on the podcast. We're going to talk about a few things. It's obviously, the podcast is Taking Care of Business. So we're going to talk about Pitfire as a business. But then a little later on in the pod, we've got an exciting new partnership to announce between Pitfire and Allsopp, which, like I say, we're really excited to share with you all. So, Michelle, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on and joining us.
Most welcome.
So I think our starting point is your starting point, really. Pitfire, how it began, where the idea came from, how it was initially put together, and why Dubai was the chosen market for it.
Right. Well, it's an interesting story. So my husband, since I met him, since he was a teenager, has wanted to have a pizza restaurant.
Wow.
Like, it's been this obsession that he's had. And, you know, it was not something that we could do early in life because neither of us come from F&B or from family money. So we had to kind of get corporate jobs. And so we came to it kind of later in life when we arrived in Dubai. We had been in Kuala Lumpur before that for 10 years. We talked about doing it there because there was no good pizza there either. But we didn't feel the business environment was safe enough, you know, for us to take the kind of risk that you take because it costs a lot of money to do a restaurant. So when we got to Dubai, we found a very expat-friendly, transparent business environment. We did a little round, figured out no good pizza here. So.
And why not? What was wrong with the pizzas?
Well, I mean, our definition of good pizza, okay? So it was either chains, like Papa Murphy's, Papa John's, Domino's, those sorts of things, or Italian restaurants that were doing pizza, but not really specializing in pizza. I think there were 2 restaurants, that Bussola and Rosso Vivo, that were specializing in pizzas, but both were Neapolitan. And that's not our preferred style of pizza. We prefer a more American style, more cooked through, crunchy type of a crust instead of the soft, flash cooked Neapolitan. So we kind of more focused on that. And we could see that there was a big lack of an independent pizzeria, which we saw a lot of in the States. A lot of people just like us, doing their own thing, but focused just on pizza.
Well, and I said to you off camera before, I wouldn't be surprised if some of our guys asked you for an autograph today, because I think since you've started it, and when I've been speaking to some of the guys and about doing the podcast and you coming on, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if they're waiting outside the room for you. So it's really taken off well. But again, coming back to the business aspect, so like you said, it takes a lot of money and it's not easy to start a business, whether it's Kuala Lumpur, Dubai, the States, or anywhere. So what were the biggest challenges you faced?
Well, the first challenge we faced was just finding a location, because when back in, and you have to remember this was 2013, 2014. Okay. We were looking around, Bill was going around to different places, and it was really more like big spots, you know. And it was only later when places like JLT was built that some of the retail units started becoming smaller. But We did find a small space in the Greens Retail Center, and that was a failed Italian restaurant that wasn't doing well. Bill knew who was the partners in it, and we said, this is a perfect location. He said this is a perfect location for us to start because it's small, it's not too big, it's not too risky, and it was already an existing business. So we didn't want to be anyone's business partner. We wanted to just like set it up like a franchise.
So it's a fascinating story, but knowing what you know now, if you could do one thing again, what would it be?
There's a lot. But what I would say is that every business is a continual learning experience. And the first one we did failed. And learning from that failure was the best MBA in what not to do. And we really look back on it now and we think we had to fail there in order to ultimately succeed, because that's what that failure there and what it cost us and all that pushed us to start over, and it pushed me to leave my job. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me personally as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what made you guys take the decision to not be, or what drove you forward to not be scarred by the experience, to think, oh, we've tried it, maybe it's not worked, but to kind of think, okay, well, that's not worked, but we believe we can do it better. We
were scarred for a while, I have to say, because it got quite ugly, where the mark and the logo and the brand which we had registered, they put it on their trade license without asking us. We couldn't do anything about it. So we had to kind of wait until that whole thing got through the Ministry of Economy process, and then we went to the DED and we claimed copyright infringement.
Quite an ugly process.
Yeah, it was very ugly, and they tried to stop it every step of the way, understandably, because they wanted to keep it. But we ended up prevailing in the end because we proved that it was ours.
Yeah.
And so after all that happened, it was sort of like a little bit like, okay, now what do we do? Do we just put all of this knowledge and the recipes and everything in a suitcase and just pack it away? No, we need to do another one. So we talked to some people and we found new partners. And that's how we ended up in JLT. Because the people that we went into business with the second time, whom we set it up correctly this time, were really nice people. We bought them out over time, but we're still on very good terms. They had this little spot in JLT in Cluster D. So again, not a huge investment. We had already lost a lot of money on the first one, so we didn't want to risk losing a lot more on doing something splashy the second time.
I think there's a remarkable story then. It kind of correlates a little bit with Carl and Lewis and Allsopp Allsopp, talking about like partnerships, and the fact that a few days after Allsopp Allsopp opened the doors was the 2008 financial crisis, and all the headlines with people with their heads in their hands, and it was. But quite often adversity can make or break people, and it sounds like for Pitfire, it really.
Yeah, I mean, for the whole time this was all going on, we were just walking around felt like with a knife in our heart, because it was like someone had kidnapped our 4-year-old child. Because they pushed us out of the business and told the staff we weren't allowed to even go in the store. So it was like we could see it, but we couldn't nurture our little baby that we had created, So it was very, very painful. But, we consider it now the best MBA we could have ever gotten on what not to do.
No, but it is.
We did really a lot of things right. I mean, the food, the brand was a hit from the start. It was definitely what people wanted and needed, because it was my husband formulated the dough to deliver very well, and that's what really makes us different. And that was missing because Neapolitan pizza, which was what there was at the time, doesn't deliver super well because.
So how long does that process take? How long, for example, to get the perfect dough? I guess there's a lot of trial and error, and.
Yeah, he did it at home, and.
So you guys were eating pizza for months.
We were. I was like, and I'm the cook in the family, so it was like, and it was. So I just want to be clear that it was like, I was just letting him pursue his dream and just sort of being like, if you want to cook me pizza, And so he was just toiling away and working on the recipe, and he got really into the science of fermentation, and he's very, very, his grandfather was a baker.
Oh, wow.
In New York City, so I think he's got something in his genes, but he was just very obsessive about it, and to this day he still finds little ways to improve it. So it's a never-ending process. You've always got to be, you can't just let something stagnate and think, oh, it can't be better, because it can always be better.
Well, 100%. And one of the questions I was going to ask and come on to is so that's the dough, but in terms of new pizzas, how do you decide? Is that just a constant experimentation of, why don't we try this topping or why don't we try that?
Well, we launched with a pretty long list of pizzas, stuff that we were making at home that we liked, the topping combinations that we liked. I love to name the pizzas funky things.
Yeah.
And so adding a new one is not easy,
Yeah, I mean,
we relaunched in 2016 with 2 new pizzas on the menu because we felt we needed to do something to differentiate ourselves from those people who were still operating, by the way, under a different name, but still operating.
Even to today?
No, they've gone out of
closed them
business
down
now.
by now.
Yeah, for sure. No, that didn't take long. Once me and Bill were back in the picture, and then I left behind, I was an HR director for 20 years, and I was doing Pitfire just, part-time.
Yeah.
So I just said, look, one of us has got to focus on this full time, or the same thing is going to happen to us that happened the first time. So I left behind my corporate career and started over as a restaurateur. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out.
What an amazing story. And so there must be even trial and error in that, coming from a HR background or any kind of corporate background to then even design a restaurant and think, okay, this setup's going to be nice, that counter can go over there.
Yeah, you get the help from people. Bill is a very talented designer. He's done the interiors for all of our restaurants so far. So he does all the design stuff, and he's very good at these programs, and it comes from his lighting design experience as well, because he works with architects and with interior designers all the time. So he's really good at it, and as they've come together, it's been just him and what makes sense functionally and that sort of thing. We never employed a kitchen designer up until our Business Bay kitchen. That's in a hotel, and the hotel employed a kitchen designer.
Yeah.
So we met this guy, and we've used him now for all of our kitchens since. So kitchens are one thing.
The front end,
the front end is like a whole other thing.
Yeah, I guess so, actually, because even when I was asking the question, I was thinking about the front end. You kind of just take for a given that a kitchen's a kitchen, but I guess it's not, is it?
No, it's not. Everything has to flow, and we do a high volume delivery business. So if you came to our Arjan kitchen, for example, and I took you in the back, you could see that everything starts from one end and moves towards the door where it goes out to the riders, and you have to design like that when you're doing big volume on a Friday night, because everybody orders at 7:00, and then it gets crazy. And
you need an efficient process.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Arjan, that brings me on to a question I had: is what helps or what factors influence where you guys choose to open up and to go to?
That's a good question. We try to make sure that we cover all the major residential areas of Dubai, and being out in this part of Dubai has been something that we wanted to do for a really long time. And we just we looked at property prices in Motor City and Arjan as it was coming up. Bill's office is in Arjan, so he watched all these buildings come up, and as each new one was built with some retail space on the bottom, he'd go and he'd call and he'd speak to them, and none of them were provisioned for F&B properly until the one where we are now. And that was the first one that was actually a quality development provision for F&B, and we were one of the first ones to sign a lease in there. And our rent is half the amount per square foot than in Motor City. So I mean, for us, unit level profitability is one of our
crucial.
I mean, we won't compromise on that, because we're not in this to break even or lose money.
So does that come from your background or Bill's background in terms of the business aspect and the financials, and what are your negotiables and non-negotiables? Who drives that side?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would say that neither of us were really strong in that area, and so as we were moving along, I had a lot of people that helped me along the way, people that just admired the brand, that were restaurateurs. One guy in particular, he's an American guy, he's now our operations director. He's American, he's ex-Chipotle, he's got a mind like numbers, just, And so he taught me how to read a P&L. He helped us determine what was important and what was not important. So he's been working with us now for part-time, on and off, for 3 or 4 years. Because before we opened in Business Bay, we just had our 2 locations in JLT.
Yeah.
And we had signed the lease for Business Bay, and we knew we'd been selected for Time Out Market. And I looked around the business, and we had just worked with, and this is where my HR experience came in. We had just worked with this guy who's our ops director and a couple of other guys to do a franchise package for us. And after going through that process, I realized how much was part of that in terms of standard operating procedures that we did not have into our business. And so the HR part of me was like, you know what's gotten us this far is not going to get us to where we need to go. So I brought them in as consultants to work with us and basically professionalize our business. And I worked alongside him, and he did that and got involved with the staff, and so yeah.
That's an amazing aspect to the journey itself, because like you said before, just about the pizzas and how it's not okay just to say, okay, this is what we offer, we're good at it, and that's it. But from a business point of view as well, to have that constant evolution and to realize, okay,
you have to know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been, whether it's luck or whatever, I seem to have this knack for surrounding myself with people who are, I'm not afraid to like hire smarter people than me, because I don't know everything, and I rely on people to do stuff that I'm not good at.
Well, there's Richard Branson hit the headlines, didn't he, 2 or 3 months ago?
Yeah, he was talking about the same thing. I loved it, actually.
It's the same, but it's remarkable everything he's achieved in his until he's in his 50s, he didn't understand profit and loss.
He's like, I don't know.
But he has that philosophy of hiring people around him that can drive that for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have won lots of awards over the years.
Yeah.
Which one is it that means the most to you?
What means the most to me is the most recent one, which was Best Pizzeria in the Time Out Restaurant Awards. And that was an award that was really important to me because I've been lobbying Time Out to have a pizza category for many years, and they finally did. And to win it just felt amazing. We brought the whole team, and it was such a wonderful night. They put on a great award show.
So if you've been lobbying them, the culmination of a lot of hard work as well.
Yeah, I mean, they basically said, talk to the hand. When there's enough good pizzerias, we'll do it. But I understood their reason for not doing it. But when they finally did do it, we kind of had to win it. I was set myself up for not winning and everything, So, but
after being the one to push it, it's nice that you guys took home the award. So, how did it go? Did you have to? Was it a particular pizza that won it for you?
No, what they do for this one is they chose one of our locations, and it's the JLT location, the OG. And so that was the pizzeria that was nominated for the award. So they came and they shot B-roll there, and it was that particular location that was on their radar for.
So you must have been like a proud mother on the day, like overseeing the chefs to make sure everything's perfect.
Oh yes, I'm there for all those kind of shoots. Yeah, I make sure that they go well. Apart from we got global recognition not long before that. We got selected by an organization called 50 Top Pizza, they're sort of like the Michelin of pizza.
Wow.
They have anonymous inspectors and everything. It's an Italian group, and they send anonymous inspectors. I got an email saying, congratulations, you've been selected in the top 50, but they wouldn't tell us what number we were. So we flew to Madrid to collect the award, and we were number 13.
Incredible.
Of artisan pizzeria chains in the world.
Wow.
Because what they recognize is that to be great in one unit is great, but what it takes to be consistent and great as you grow is a whole other skill set.
So, and that leads on to a good question actually. So how does that work? How do you ensure that? Because we've had similar in terms of when we open up, Allsopp and Allsopp used to be one office, when everyone was together, the culture, the processes, the structure was all the same. Then when we open more offices, that is a challenge to keep the same culture and standards and everything else.
And often you can't. Yeah. Often you can't. Change comes, and some of the people who were part of the original journey don't really like the change.
Yeah.
And I liken it to getting on the bus, or you choose to get on the bus of change or not to get on the bus.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get on the bus, fine. The bus will leave the station without you. Good luck.
Yeah.
If you do want to get on the bus, you better be on the bus.
Yeah.
Or you'll get kicked off the bus. So you got to like look at change that way and manage change actively as part of your business, because that's the only way you can really do it. And, you know, standard procedure in the restaurant business, you know, we hire for attitude and train for skill. And so, you know, we have really good, strong management team, a really good team structure in place, strong culture of promotion from within, which keeps people happy.
We have the same philosophy.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely, because personality is most important. We say exactly the same. You can train everything else, but if you've got a bad egg, so to speak, the negativity and the almost poison that they can spread can cripple a business 100%. Or an office or a restaurant. And
you just have to be able to recognize it early, that you've got a problem here.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can try to deal with the problem by keeping the problem inside the organization, but if that doesn't work, you can't hesitate to just burn a visa and get the problem out.
Well, that's a good exit process. Maybe I should ask our HR team start burning visas.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it's, look, it's a personal decision, but I don't think you should keep a bad team member just because you don't want to, like, just because you spent 7,000 dirhams on a visa for that person.
No, it's true. And it's, you listen to yourself or any business leaders, and it's always about taking hard decisions quickly and actually taking a decision rather than just saying, oh, it might change, or let's give them another few weeks. It might be a little bit different.
And that's where my HR experience came in and was very, very handy. So, you know, I have no compunction to do those sorts of things. And, you know, there's certain things you just don't tolerate in the restaurant business. You know, they have a saying, it's not if your employees are going to steal from you, it's when. So you have to have really good systems for, you know, balancing your till every night, checking everything that's going on, being close in the business. And we just have really good managers that do that.
And do you know what? That's another side of business that a lot of people don't see all the time. Unfortunately, you do have to expect the worst in people. Like you say, not if, but when, because for 95% of people that are good and are decent and are loyal to a company, there is always 5% that you have to try and cater for to protect your business.
Yeah, true.
What's next for Pitfire?
Well, we're opening in Murdiff well, it was supposed to be middle of this month, but it's going to be delayed, of course. They always are. Yeah. And it's going to be the end of this month. And then we're just about to sign one more lease for another opening this year.
I won't ask you too much if it's not.
No, don't. I can't reveal it yet, but it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, very exciting for us.
Well, we will stay tuned to that one. So when you, because this relates to our business as well, when you go to kind of break into a new area, so whether it's Murdiff or the new lease that you're talking about, how do you go about it?
That's a very good question. We have a very specific way we go about it. And we go about it by just basically keeping our mouths shut and letting the word of mouth spread, so that the volume of people ordering and coming in builds gradually. Because when we do get to capacity in a certain location where, you know, you do have 80 orders on a rack on a Friday night, the pressure to move fast and get it done is very, very intense. And a new team, even with some seasoned team members on it, the team has to learn to gel. And we prefer to give them time to grow into the volume. So
is that 80 orders on a Friday night, you said, on the rack?
In a 30-minute time span. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really nuts.
Yeah, how many imagine pizzas? The stress levels of the managers there.
But they're great. We watch on the cameras. We deliberately designed Pitfire so that we didn't need to be present in it to make it run. And so we watch on the cameras, and it's so fun to see them. They just come together as one, and it's like watching a dance. It's the coolest thing, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So that's how you break into a community. But is there a way that you ensure people keep coming back to you? Or is it just the quality of the pizza?
By delivering consistency and quality and responding to customer complaints if they are, because it happens. I mean, people make mistakes. Yep. Riders drop pizzas, and, you know, the customer blames us, not Deliveroo, you know what I mean? So Just making sure your customer service standards are really high. We kind of adopt the American model of customer service. The customer is always right, and we will always make it right for the customer.
Yeah.
So, and just, just do a good job. I mean, that's all you really have to. If your product is good, then, we spend a bit of time, I spend time on, our Instagram account and stuff like that, and collaborations and stuff to just do fun things and keep it fresh and keep it new. But when we launch a new pizza, with the exception of the truffle pizza, which was done about 2.5 years ago, people don't tend to order them. They come for their favorites. They come for the margarita. They come for the pepperoni. You say, oh, I've got this new, it's for Halloween. It's got pumpkin on it, and it's got, sage and all those Halloweeny things. And they're like, okay, great, but I'd like a pepperoni. So that's one thing we've learned, and that's something about introducing new pizzas too. Is when we do it, we do limited edition. I just introduced one yesterday, a new one, but it's for dine-in only. It's called the Queen Bee.
Oh, right. What's on the Queen Bee?
It's very simple, like a summer pizza. It's got just our tomato sauce, then we bake it, and it comes out, and we top it with fresh basil leaves, fresh cherry tomatoes, a ball of burrata, and then a balsamic glaze. It's amazing.
So
very light.
What's the thought or the process behind that just being a dine-in? Is it because of how the pizza will travel, or just to
burrata doesn't
get people
deliver
into
well?
Yeah,
some things just don't deliver well, and I will not send something out the door in delivery if it's not like perfect.
So how will you let people know that there's this new pizza? It's a dine-in only option to come along to one of the restaurants?
Well, we have like these little table banners that people see. We have social media. I've been using a PR firm that on Thursday they're gonna do what they call the sell-in. To launch it, so people might see it through that. And again, just word of mouth. People love burrata here. So
do you know what? And it's to keep drawing similarities. I hope that's okay. But between like yourselves and ourselves, we're the same for the amount of money, to put it simply, that we spend on marketing, whether it be property portals, digital marketing, SEO, PPC. Our highest revenue generators, referrals, and past clients coming back to us.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're building a business on that, it's a very, very solid.
We have customers that have been with us for 7 years that still order regularly, and we have our regulars that go in, that prefer to dine in, that go to our JLT branch, and the team there knows their names, they know what they like, and it's like old friends coming back.
Yeah,
we've got our regulars now in Arjan. And
amazing.
I'm sure we'll have regulars in Murdiv.
Yeah, 100%. It must be quite nice when you do go into an area to see the regulars start to drip feed in.
It really is. We never get tired of seeing, sometimes we sit there and Bill will be like, okay, they're about to get their pizza. And we love to watch people take that first bite, and the reaction that they have is just never gets old, to be honest.
Deliveroo or any other delivery apps or services, how does that affect you guys? Because I know this is a few years ago now, obviously, but when Deliveroo came out, there was a lot in the restaurant industry that were up in arms, and they were taking too much of the profits, and they wanted too big a margin. So how's that affected you guys?
Well, you've got to manage those aggregators very carefully and smartly, and know when to be exclusive with one and when not to. Again, my operations director has helped me a lot over the years, because we started out with our own drivers, and then quickly realized that the economics of that didn't really stack up, as opposed to being on the platform. So we started out on Zomato, and then we signed up with Deliveroo, and then we tried Careem, we tried Uber Eats, and and then it became clear to us that Deliveroo was where most of our demographic orders. So I slowly started negotiating a lower commission with Deliveroo to drop in exchange for dropping other aggregators. And so now I've got a great commission with them.
Good.
Yeah, but we have given them notice. We're gonna also sign up with Talabat. They've come after us pretty aggressively, and kind of gave us an offer we can't refuse. So it makes a lot of sense now that we have scale. When you're smaller, there's certain factors that make it smart to be exclusive with one platform, to have all your eggs in that basket. But as you get bigger and as your ability to build your capacity grows, we're adding new ovens, we're going to be able to get more pizzas out. It makes more sense to spread it out.
Well, and also when you start, you need them. Whereas when you become the big brand, they need you almost on their platform. So it's the dynamic completely switches.
Yeah, we do enjoy that that status of companies wanting to work for our brand and have our brand on their platform. But that doesn't make us any less ruthless about how we negotiate with these people.
Well, like you say, it's business.
That's right. Same thing with commercials on a lease.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. You've got to, and again, we're the same. You've got to look after every last dirham. There's a saying from the UK: if you look after the penny, the pounds look after themselves.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same. If you look after the dirhams over here, or the fills, sorry, the dirhams look after themselves.
The fills. I mean, you know, food costs, everything. There's profit margins in a restaurant are not big, so everything counts. Where you can save this much, you can save that much, and not by cutting quality, because we refuse to cut quality, because prices continue to go up from our suppliers all over the world. They're going up, and so we did do a price increase, but when we do a price increase, it's like 1-2 dirhams on an item, so it's not like it's not like people even really notice.
Well, I was just going to ask that actually. Do people notice, or do you get feedback, or because you are right, across the world over the last really since as well. Prices for everything have shot through the roof.
Yes. Yeah. So we rarely get any comments, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But most people don't really notice it.
I guess everyone's in the same boat though, aren't they? So whatever they're ordering from, or whatever restaurant they go to, experience they have, it's.
You know, at a point it gets. I mean, we do lose customers because we become unaffordable to them, and then they'll trade down in quality to save money, and that's a consumer decision, and I can't really do much about that. You know, the customers that are willing to pay for quality, we're here.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know what? From a couple of things you've said, something that's really important, and again similar to us, you really know when to draw the line and when to accept you can't do anything about something, and just to focus on what you're good at and what you know you can control. Because I think a lot of people in business will try and chase everything. And just spin themselves around in circles by trying to, we've lost that consumer, maybe we should drop the price again, or we should do this or do that.
Oh gosh, you know, the discount culture is something that people fall victim to here, and I think it's so sad. I don't discount.
Yeah.
We rarely do. I mean, the only discount you'll ever get from Pitfire is when you order via our own portal, the chat food portal. For the first 3 orders, you get 20% off, and that's to bring people onto that platform. And there's a loyalty program there and everything. So we do all those types of things, and we concentrate on new customer acquisition as well as retaining our loyal customers. So oftentimes we will. I mean, we have so many customers that I don't know. We could probably spend a little bit more time analyzing our customer database and working more on customer retention. That's not something that we've had the luxury to focus on so far, but again, there's only so much time in the day. And so many people to prioritize. So as we're talking about discounts and onboard, for want of a better way of putting it, onboarding or introducing new customers, probably feels like a good time to introduce the new partnership that we're coming together on. So from next week, I think it is, Christian, we've got our marketing director just off camera. We're going to go out with every new tenant in a apartment property is going to get 2 Pitfire pizzas delivered to them. In a custom branded box, co-branded box. When Christian first called me about this, I knew at the time, because it's been months in the making, but I knew we were going to have Murdiff, and I knew that we would have, because I've had people come to me with this before, and we just didn't have enough penetration in terms of our locations to do it justice. And I still am yet to get him a list of places that we don't deliver to, because there are a few that we don't deliver to. But I was like, I love it. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of giving someone who's moved into a new house. I mean, pizza's the perfect thing to have. You know, it's a win-win because like you guys get to make your customers happy. We get to make people know that Pitfire delivers to them. So it's like, it's a win-win for both of us, and I think both of us were like, look, I was like, I'll cover this cost, and he was like, I'll cover that cost.
Yep.
So I'm covering the food and the delivery, and he's covering the packaging. So it works out. So I'm kind of donating the food.
Yeah. Well, no, the packaging I love. So
it's
for
cute.
anyone that is moving in, it's I look forward to you guys getting the boxes and giving us some feedback. But yeah, from our point of view, obviously, moving house is a stressful time for most people. So the concept for us is if we can help out a small bit by, and like you said, pizza's a perfect meal for someone who's just moved into the house. Maybe the kitchen's not arranged yet. You're living in boxes. It comes in a box. You don't really need anything. You can just pick up the slices and eat. And when it's a great tasting pizza as well, then like
this has been done before in Dubai. It has been done, not by real estate companies, but by the moving companies.
Yeah,
they've tried and it's not really lasted. So one of the things that I feel good about this, and our PR company were talking about it too. It's like for us to do this and get it right, for people is going to be great, because it's like, he's put a lot of effort into it. I've put a lot of effort into it, and we both just want to get it right.
Yeah.
And it's just like a community giving back kind of a thing that I feel really good about.
Yeah, no, we do too. And hopefully, I mean, as with anything, I guess, I'm sure there'll be a couple of things we need to iron out and we learn as we go along, but there's no reason really it shouldn't be. Yeah. It shouldn't be a success.
Yeah, logistics of like knowing when people, their move-in day is that's what we're working on now, to try and figure that stuff out. And how to get the notification to our team and give us enough time to arrange a driver. And we have a cutoff time of 6:30 because we can't have like these pizzas going out at 8 o'clock when we're in the middle of the rush, So we've got a few little barriers around it to make sure that it's successactual.
But I think, it's all a learning curve, isn't it? And I'm sure we will, between us all get it right. But yes, so our aim is to actually be there on the moving day for people again, because that's the most stressful day. Or you've moved out of one place, you've got your boxes, everything packed. You're moving into the next place. You've not had time to unpack anything yet. So if we can just provide a meal at the end of the day. So coming on to the two pizzas, I think we've got specials from our two co-founders and partners, Lewis and Carl Allsopp, our CEO and COO. So what pizzas are we going to be sending out? What have they both selected?
So there's a couple different parts of this. So number one is the launch, when you guys launch it here. Obviously, we're going to send what your two guys want.
Yeah.
I believe one of them is just a straight up margarita guy, and one of them is a pepperoni with jalapeno guy.
So for that is the yin and yang of Allsopp and Allsopp. And anyone who knows Lewis and Carl, I'm sure you can guess whose is which pizza there.
For sure. Well, okay. And then, but the pepperoni primo and the margarita are our top two best-selling pizzas.
Yeah.
And you just can't go wrong. And when we first started talking about it, it was like, well, we find out if they're a vegetarian or if they're not a vegetarian, and we send something accordingly. And then I was like, you know what, let's just send one of each. Yeah. If they don't eat it, they can give it to somebody else if they're vegetarian or whatever, and they don't want the pepperoni. So I think because not everybody likes spicy food, we'll probably, for the deliveries, we'll probably just do the pepperoni. Yeah. But for Lewis and Carl, when you guys do your lunch in here, we'll send the pepperoni and jalapeno, which I personally love as well. You should tell them to try it with fresh chopped chili.
Really?
Green chili.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I'll give them a shout. So does that, actually, it's a good question. So for the toppings, in fact, no, I've lost my train of thought there.
You probably were going to say, how do you customize?
How do you customize?
Yeah, so we've got a build your own feature. And you can basically build your own pizza. A lot of people just customize a pizza. So they'll order a pepperoni and then they'll order like mushrooms and black olives, because we don't have that exact combo. Yeah. So customization is a big thing with us. It's an American thing. Italians are not so fond of you customizing their pizza, but we do half and half on our large pizzas, not on the smalls, but on the large, and we have a build your own, so you can basically create your own pizza. You want to know what the highest number of toppings anybody's ever ordered?
Yeah, go on.
What do you reckon?
15?
Higher.
20?
Higher.
Really?
28.
28 different toppings?
Yeah. It was a beast of a pizza. I mean,
Yeah.
and you have to be careful because you can't you couldn't pick up a slice if
Yeah.
you put you have to. So it was. The team took a picture of the thing, and it was like
They basically just put everything on top of it.
Yeah, I don't know what sometimes I see combinations that just boggle my mind. I just go, wow, I never would have thought of that. But
do you know what though? I can be guilty of that sometimes because it's hard to explain, but sometimes you can just be in a funny mood and think, oh, I'm going to try this and that today.
Yeah, or it's like you see a list of toppings and you're like, I like this. I like sautéed spinach with garlic. I like artichoke hearts. I like pepperoni. I like mushrooms. So I'll put them all on a pizza without really giving any thought as to whether those things taste good together. So that's what we do with the signature pizzas is we make sure that the combinations that are there taste really, really good and are balanced.
Yeah.
But if a customer orders a pizza and throws it all out of whack, then I can't control that.
That's why I don't
You
own
do
a pizza
you.
restaurant, and you do, because I'm one of the weird guys who just try a load of different combinations for exactly the reason you just said.
Listen, everybody does their own thing, and we don't judge.
So the half and half works well for my wife and myself because obviously you can choose your favourite toppings on there. So I'm going to link that to running and owning the business with your husband because obviously different personalities, different likes, different tastes.
Yeah.
How does that dynamic work?
It works well because he has his skill set and I have my skill set. They don't really overlap. And the stuff that I like to do is the stuff that he really doesn't like to do, and vice versa. So, sometimes because I kind of run the business operationally, sometimes he kind of will go in and step on my toes. I'll feel like he's stepping on my toes a little bit. So we just have a conversation about it, and he'll say, God, you're so territorial. And I'll be like, yeah, but you got to tell me next time. So we don't like have these fights about it, but we do have conversations about it. And it doesn't happen very often because I make it very clear, if you want to do this, and he's notorious for changing the dough recipe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we going to, because we have to document things and it's like consistency, so he's gotten much better at that now, though. He's following, now that our ops director is in place, he's making sure that he goes through the right path.
Now, again, I can draw a similarity because I feel for us, Lewis will be the one who'll just say, yeah, we're going to do this now.
Yeah.
And Carl will be the one who says, well, actually, that impacts 30 different things.
Yeah.
that we need to organise and put into
Carl.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So Carl's the margarita guy.
Yeah.
Lewis is the spicy, flamboyant, carnival type character.
Yeah, but the thing is, our personalities are flip-flop from the two, because I'm the extrovert, he's the introvert. But I'm the detailed operational person that can see 20 steps down the line and know that this particular thing he's suggesting, that it's not going to work because it's got this, and this, knock-on effect. But I try my best not to say that at the beginning because sometimes he has to discover it for himself. So
but it's
compromise.
I again with Allsopp and Allsopp, that's what makes businesses work though.
Yeah.
Having the two different characters, because if you just had, in our case, a Lewis, you'd have incredible ideas and vision. I'm not saying, I have to be careful.
Yeah, you're not saying
they're
Carl
going to
doesn't
box
have
this. Yeah. But you'd have none of the actual structure and process and the back end. And I'm probably more like Carl myself. So if we just had like a Carl or myself type character,
you would
have
never,
all the
you would the structure, but you wouldn't have
the
vision.
Yeah, exactly.
And in our relationship, Bill has always been the guy. I've always said Bill steers the ship.
Yeah.
So he's the one out there, looking into the horizon to determine what our next move is going to be. And
we're furiously
I'm just
to
behind
keep it
cleaning
moving,
up, and so I mean, we've joint decision making on things, but like he's the guy who's always thinking of the future, And I'm fine
like we
with
say,
that.
that's what makes it work.
That's right.
Good. I think we got some quick fire questions to end on. The first one is your favourite Pitfire location and why?
That's a really hard one. I love them all, honestly. I guess I'd have to, the OG JLT location is like got a special place in my heart. But in the summertime, it's just so small inside that in the wintertime, if I have a choice of where to go have a meeting with someone, because I always usually meet people at one of the restaurants. I'll always go there because it's like, and you walk in and it's like, you see, when you walk into any of our stores, you basically see our personality reflected in that space.
Yeah.
And so that one is, because it is the OG, it's like, it's got a very special place in my heart. I love our Time Out Market location. I love our delivery only kitchens. They've all got their own little thing going on. I really like Arjan a lot because it's closest to home and it's our biggest store. And it's very easy. I can be there in 5 minutes, you know? So if I want to go in the back and experiment with a pizza or something like that, I can just go and get that done. So that one has been the most convenient for me to have nearby, because we've been doing a lot of stuff lately, collaborations and new pizza launches and things.
It's almost like I've asked you to name a favorite child there, isn't it? It's
don't ask me about
do.
my favorite pizza either, because that's
one of the quick fire ones.
That's a constantly revolving door. We tried one on the weekend that we haven't had in such a long time. It's called the Stubby Special. Stubby is Bill's mother's maiden name. And it's like this, it's got our roasted red capsicum, pepperoni, Italian sausage, and Kalamata olives. And it's such a good combination. And I said, let's order, because we haven't had it in such a long time. We were eating it. He was like, gosh, this is such a good pizza. I mean, they're all good. The only one I don't care for is the fresh veggie.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the white pie, because I'm more of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just find them kind of a little bit bland. And I like spicy stuff and a lot more flavor. So, but I like them all.
This isn't quick fire, but just come into my mind. Talking about like Bill's mum there, and obviously then you think of roots and everything else. Do you think you would ever open in the US or New York?
I don't think so. Because the restaurant business in the States is a very different animal to here. It's really, really, really been struggling since the pandemic. The people who wanted to work in the restaurants just don't really want to do it anymore. So it's tough. Waiters, chefs are among some of the lowest paid people in the States. And that's also the case here. But here what you have are people who are willingly coming from another country to provide a better life for their family. And then you do have the visa situation. So the whole like employee situation is much more stable than it is in the States. So I don't think at this point in our lives we want to like do that, you know. I don't think so.
The other thing is, Dubai is such a fast growing city in terms of just property handovers, but then population growth and everything else. So we're kind of similar in that thought process as well. And Dubai's expanded so much. There's so much to achieve in Dubai still.
I know,
and to
right?
Continue to
and
achieve.
Abu Dhabi and the greater MENA area, you know. So it's we definitely have growth in front of us. That's the plan. How that's all going to unfold, we will see. But we're definitely going to keep growing.
Good. One of the questions I've got here is Lewis or Carl's pizza, but I think I know the answer to that from what you've
it's
said
gonna
already.
It's going to be the pepperoni
with the jalapenos on top. Okay.
Carl, try it with chopped green chili.
Yeah. Maybe we'll stick one under him when he gets back.
It's a lot. I mean, it's more heat than the jalapeno.
Yeah.
And the jalapeno kind of gives it a bit of a tang that I think he probably likes. So he might not like it, but I personally like it.
We'll get him to do a taste test when he's in. The final question, just to throw it to property a little bit. If you could live anywhere in Dubai, where would it be? Definitely within a Pitfire delivery zone.
I really love that we've owned our house in the ranches the whole time we've been here. So it's a great house, and we love that house. We were going to sell it when the market was so high, and we actually had an offer and everything, and then we just changed our mind at the last minute because we didn't want to think about moving. But I suppose if there's any one place that I would like to experience that I haven't yet, it would be like the Jumeirah Sakim area near the beach, one of those old villas.
Yeah,
you know.
beautiful.
I would probably hate it because I'm not a beach person, and but I think just having the beach nearby and hearing the waves and being able to go walk on the beach would be nice. Well, there's a thing that we've coined called try before you buy, which we didn't expect this would happen with the holiday home side of the business or the short-term let, but
we get a lot of people staying in areas to try before they buy.
Wow.
So if you ever do fancy, maybe Airbnb a villa by the beach for a month and see how you get on with it.
That's an interesting idea. I didn't know you guys did that.
Well, no, it's not like
I thought of Airbnb being our
thing.
villa and then moving to another place.
Yeah.
Because we could get a fortune for
Yeah.
our villa now. But again, we just don't want to move.
Yeah.
Moving is stressful.
It is part of the reason for the partnership.
Yeah.
To try and help out in
I don't want
any
to
small
deal
way
with
we
that.
can.
We've got too much other stuff going on. So
Michelle, thank you. But honestly, it's been such an
pleasure.
enlightening and fascinating conversation for me because I've learned so much. Obviously beforehand, and my research notes were wrong, so about the award in 2018, apologies, but we try and do some research, but I found out so much today. It's been a fascinating discussion.
oh, I'm glad.
So thank you very much. And for everyone, the partnership does kick off next week. So from probably I think towards the end of next week, anyone who's moving into a rented apartment with us will
In our
be
delivery
touch.
radius.
Yeah. And we'll start delivering some pizzas. We'll do loads on social media. We'll get PR out. So we'll share the journey with everyone. If you follow Pitfire's social channels on ours, you'll see a lot of collaboration on there. So thank you again, and I hope you've all enjoyed watching.